Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to another episode of Us Therapeutics with your host. I'm Dr. B.
Dr. Lakeith.
Dr. Gigi.
And today we're going to do like a hybrid episode where our main goal is to give you strategies to help you with mental wellness centered around self-care and things of the like. But when I say hybrid, if while we're talking about these things, we're also going to discuss some of the stuff that can contribute to like stress, what we've been dealing with, what we've been seeing in the world and things like that. Okay, so keep in mind that it may seem like it may go all over the place, but more than likely it will not. We will keep it all curtailed, me and my hands curtailing everything, and we'll go for there. So starting though with that, we will start with mental wellness. One thing that we want to do is that shares, you may hear from pop psychology, pop mental health, whatever it may be, where you get your information from about self-care. The reason why therapists across the land talk about self-care is because it is undersold and underutilized. Self-care is very, very important to minimize and decrease stress and all the other quote unquote negative emotions. I think calling them negative emotions is a bad thing. That's why I put it in quotations, because all emotions serve a positive purpose. They just don't feel good. But you need to do self-care in order to dilute experiencing one aspect of the emotional spectrum, which we would consider on the negative side. So self-care turns that down and increases positivity. Main reason being is because in 2025, in the year of our good Lord, in this country we call United States, there is a lot of stress going on. Too much stress leads to a lot of physical and emotional problems. A lot of people underestimate the mind, gut, and mind-body connection. When you are stressed, you will have gastrointestinal issues. When you are stressed, you will have immune issues, inflammation issues. You increase the likelihood of you getting injured because you have so much immune issues. You increase the likelihood of having a gastrointestinal issue because you are so stressed. And we're also exhausted. Right now, I'm not going to hold it up, but I'm taking caffeine right now. I don't know why I'm taking caffeine right now, because I'm tired, right? And I'm also, sometimes it keeps me focused. And I have to focus throughout my day because I have so much going on in our society in order to keep things moving, keep things going. All three of us have our own private practice and businesses that we run. So that's a level of stress as well. So self-care is important because you need to turn the system down to recharge. And with that as the foundation, I'll open up with one of my favorite self-care techniques is I love a good massage. Oh my goodness. I will go and spend shacoins. Shacoins. And I'm one of those people where I fall asleep on the table. Like if I get a good enough massage, I'm out. I'm snoring. That's how like relaxed I get when I'm having a massage. I love a massage. And with that, I love going to a spa. I'm not saying I'm rich. I'm just saying the Lord has blessed me. All right? I tithe regularly. Don't I, Keith?
He does.
I tithe regularly.
He does.
And I tithe like I'm supposed to. And the good Lord returns on his investment. So I like going to a spa. And I like getting a massage. I'm one of those people that when I go on vacation, I don't want to sightsee. You keep your sightseeing to yourself. I can't stand people. Why are we going on this vacation to sightsee? Like people say stuff to me all the time like, you want to go hiking? No.
Yes.
I don't want to go hiking. No, I don't want to backpack and hike. Resort me, please.
That too.
I want.
Absolutely.
Now, here's the thing. If I'm going with somebody, it's got to be a 50-50. When we get there, the first couple of days, get it out of your system. You want to go hiking, you want to go horsebacking, I'm with you on that one, right? You want to go ATVing, I'm with you. I don't even want to do that, if I could be honest with you, because the vehicle doing all the work. No, I want to lay around and relax. I want to lay in the sun, somebody's pool, somebody's massage table. I'll even go to get, the people that stretch you out, like you'll go, they'll stretch your limbs. I love that too. I'm going to stop sucking up the oxygen, but I think that is a great form of self-care. You deserve to go get a massage. You need to be aggressive with it. It don't got to be a whole hour. Get 30 minutes. 30 minutes on the weekend, go. Get a good deep tissue, a little painful. A little pain, but it's good for you. Let them get in the crevice. Let them relax your muscles. Lower that tension in your neck and in your traps. You know, men, we walk around with a lot of tension in here. No. Go to your local massage parlor. Let them put that blanket on you. Let them rub them essential oils on you, and go ahead. This part right. Oh
really
man,
love
that part
massages.
right. Sorry, just saying. Like I really that part when they get here and they pulling in.
Yeah.
And then up here. Sorry. Anybody else want to share their self? I love a good massage. I'm sorry. I was about to go down a rabbit hole. I'm gonna get one this weekend. Now that I say it, that's whew.
Well, for me, it's funny that you mentioned that. So, I am the hiker. Self-care for me is very outdoorsy. Now, on vacation, I do agree with you in the extent of, for the most part on vacation, I just want to chill. I don't necessarily want to do too many excursions, although there are some things I might want to do because we're somewhere different and they have that, and it's the only place that really allows that opportunity by all means. But for the most part, if it is all-inclusive, because we already paid thousands of dollars for it, we getting every penny out of this. So that means we're going to be chilling at the beach. We can be chilling at the pool, at these bars, restaurants, whatever they got, right? But self-care for me is very, and it's funny, it didn't happen until like I got to my late 20s, outdoorsy. So I like going hiking. I love going running outside. I love being outdoors with my dogs. I love being with my dogs. I have even gotten to the season of my life where I love gardening. I'm a gardener and a plant dad.
Okay.
I find it to be extremely relaxing. I don't know. I can't even fully explain it, but it's just something about getting your hands in the dirt. But even beyond that, nurturing something and watching it grow.
Yeah, that's good.
It gives me this weird sense of satisfaction and calm where it's like, okay, so my cabbage came in really strong this season. My kale came in strong this season. Okay, these carrots, they're growing really good. Those steak tomatoes, they are ready. They are ready to be picked and they're ready to be cooked, right? So something about that just gives you to a place that's kind of like, all is well. And then sitting in the backyard, being in the sun, just take a deep breath. Also, nice glass of bourbon. 2 nice glasses of bourbon. Also helps make that experience very soothing. So for some reason, for me, self-care is very, it's very earthy. It's very outdoors. It's very like I want to have those type of experiences. But also in doing those things, self-care, I also realize for me is very like in a weird way, I won't say insulated, maybe or isolated, but put it this way, self-care for me is I'm doing this for myself by myself. So when I'm gardening, it is by myself. When I am hiking, it is by myself. When I'm going running, it is by myself. Because for some reason, when other people are involved, not that it's stressful, it becomes more about focusing on that interaction with them. Because it's weird to be gardening and we're not talking, at least for me, or be running and we're not checking to see how the other person's doing. So it becomes more so about that versus when it's just like me by myself. It really is just like me with my thoughts, with my feelings, doing whatever it is I'm doing, processing them, enjoying what it is I'm doing, and just relaxing.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. I think if you like hiking, go hike. I think it's a good thing, and especially if you like gardening, if that's the thing that relaxes you, I think that is worthwhile as well. Because I will, to your point, I will sightsee if it's like a tour bus. I'll do that. Like we got a tour bus drive us around, see this statue, see these hills, cool. Walk.
Yeah, it's like look. Okay, because also, I'm not going to lie, I am dog obsessed. I will load up, and don't judge me, 4 of the 5 dogs. I will load them up. We will go somewhere, and we will just go for an hour-long, 2-hour walk. Pack their treats, pack their water, pack my treats, pack my water, and we'll just walk.
Nah, but I mean, to each his own, brother. Look, brother, I see nothing wrong with that, man. What you did. It's subjective, everybody. It is. It is really 1,000% subjective.
So I think my self-care is really layered, and it depends on what I need is where I will invest the time. So I love massages, love spas. I actually do enjoy nature in the sense of like there's something about the serenity of it. My hiking is very, whatever like starter trails they got going. Like I ain't climbing nothing.
Same.
And I don't want to sweat for real, but like the serenity of the sounds and the nature. And there's the trail that is it Falls Church or whatever that has the waterfall? Absolutely gorgeous, and it is immediately
Great Falls. That's what it's called. Great Falls. Yep.
Immediately, you just feel everything just kind of come back down to baseline. That's like a lot of what I talk to my clients about. Is we all go through our days and we have whatever it is that we have transversed in that day, and it's so important to try to bring everything back down to baseline. So as I do kind of that self-assessment, it is really, what do I need? And sometimes it's outside, sometimes it's scheduling a massage, but being able to navigate. I can't get a massage every day, right?
Oh yeah, no.
I don't have time to take a hike every day. So there are other methods that you have to be able to use to feel like you're returning yourself to baseline. So some of those like more, but I do have all my plants too.
See?
Now I don't do any outdoor growing of things. I like in my mind I could, but
You can't.
also
You can't.
I don't know. But I love my space being filled with my plants. Like it kind of brings some of the outdoor in, and so all the greenery in the space is just really soothing. So,
Yeah, definitely.
but also I know we talked about this in previous episodes, but journaling is a big thing for me on a self-care level of just like all the things that may be swirling in my head, being able to get those out and externalize them, as we've said previously, it's important for me. Again, returning myself back to my baseline and just trying to find the thing that's going to do that in that moment.
I like that. I can do a starter trail. That's fine. When you say climbing, like this, that don't.
Absolutely not.
See, okay.
Who's
I
climbing?
realized, and not to make this a racial thing, I'm gonna say it's a cultural thing.
It's
There's
about to be
like
a racial thing.
There's like European
Black
hiking,
people
which
don't
may
hike.
include- which may
That's
include
what we
actually like climbing a mountain. That's not to say there aren't black people who don't, because there are. But in collective like African American culture, when we say hiking, those easy trails, that's what we really mean.
Yeah,
Yeah, you ain't lying.
It's a walk.
It's like it's like, oh, someone already
Not
walked this
water.
trail, made this path. We're gonna walk through it, and we're gonna
Yeah.
be fine.
Yeah.
As soon as you say, "Oh, there's a mountain," it's like
Pause.
Bro,
that's
like,
a nice.
didn't-
That's a nice mountain. We
I
can take a
did
picture
not
of
know
it
there
from
was
down here.
mountain hiking trails. Now that I say it out loud, yes, I did know that, but I would never. To your point, so I like walking as a part of an exercise. Like for instance, so a lot of you might not know this. I do grappling. I compete in judo and jiu-jitsu tournaments. So it's changed, and I used to do boxing when I was younger. The fitness program for both is different. Very different. In boxing, you're going to go out and run miles. You're going to jump rope a lot. You're going to spar in the ring. You're going to hit the heavy bag. That's the usual. And you'll lift weights occasionally. I used to lift weights a lot when I did boxing. With grappling, it's a lot of burst movement. So you got to do a lot of sprinting, a lot of hit training, and a lot of weightlifting. I don't care what anybody tells you. If you do judo or jiu-jitsu and you don't lift weights, you're limiting yourself. So the reason why I said I like walking is because walking builds long-term endurance cardio. So I don't mind going walking. Like I'll put a backpack on and walk like 5 miles. So I like walking, right? And occasionally I will go through a trail. So when you said a beginner trail, I was with you. And I was like, man, let me go ahead and get some nice little trail shoes. It's like I didn't know it was a whole formula to this.
Yeah.
Get little hiking trail shoes.
whole culture.
They got hiking trail sticks to help you balance and to fight off animals. I was like, fight off? Why would I go to a trail? now fight for my life. Now, them trails must be beautiful. Like, 'cause this stick is made to turn into a spear. I was like, won't be going to those places. So I like that concept because you're right. You can't always go to the spa, but I do tell my clients when you're having a stressful day, especially if you're indoors with the air conditioning and not enough sunlight, go outside and walk around your block a couple times to get some sunlight. That's a good in the day thing to do. I do that myself. If I'm working from home or if I'm here in the office and it's been like a long day and I'm freezing cold and I feel my stress levels up, I go for a walk. I try to get sunlight in my eyes because sunlight wakes up the brain. It wakes up the autonomic nervous system. Sunlight, the vitamin D on your skin cools your skin. It wakes your body up as well. So I do like walking in that capacity, and it's nothing like, I know there are black people out there that definitely hike. And you're right. I'm just like every other, typical black person. Like I get it. Europeans, white people probably look at the mountain and be like, I can't wait. Me, I look at the mountain. I'm like, I did not pay for this. I didn't pay to get on these people's planes to come here and be like, all right, y'all, we're going to work out by going up this hill. Take me back to the resort right now.
Yeah.
Y'all have fun with that. I'm going to go sit down back at the resort. So I do think walking is getting sunlight, especially as we're now starting to approach the fall and winter season. It's going to become even more important. I'm not telling you go walk 5 miles, but get outside during those times. Get some sunlight onto your skin and into your eyes. Start your day that way if you're able to. And even during the day when you're stressed out, just go outside, breathe in some fresh air. That calms you down as well.
Definitely. And another thing is, thing that I feel like we all take for granted when we talk about self-care, stay hydrated.
Yes.
Like, stay hydrated. Majority of Americans are chronically dehydrated.
Yes. Keith, can I jump in with that?
Certainly.
Okay. My brother is right. And this is a meme that goes on. This is a meme that goes on. If you identify as a female, hydrate. I don't know why y'all don't wake up and drink water. It's a real meme. All men go through this. If you're dating a female and you're like, man, I got a headache or I'm exhausted, have you drink water? Yes. How much? 1 bottle. Drink water, ladies. Please drink water. It's really important. Hydrating does affect your brain capacity. So please drink water. I just wanted to say that. Please drink water. What were you saying, Keith?
I would say, in addition to hydration, also make sure you get enough sleep.
Yes.
America in particular, we're weird, where we have like this whole, well, you got to grind. Like, you got to appreciate the grind. You got to love the grind, right? And nowhere in that does it say, like, but you should also still get like those 7 to 8 hours of sleep, because that's very crucial in your mental health. Because whenever you wake up and you're just exhausted or you're tired, it makes things that are already hard feel 10 times harder. So that sleeping and hydration piece also plays a very critical part in self-care. And I would say even on some levels, a very basic level of self-care.
I'm glad that you said, brought up the grind thing, because I think that you should learn to grind efficiently within a set time frame, and then know what you're grinding towards. Because you brought up a good point. You hear people saying, we talked about this on another episode. You'll go online and hear people say you're not successful because you don't want to work hard. Well, no, it's not that you don't want to work hard. It's just that there's only so much that can be done. So now you're grinding past what we would consider a normal work window. And now you're bleeding into your personal life, which is another form of self-care. What is your social life? Who do you interact with? Do you interact with people? Being isolated and being alone drastically and negatively impacts your mental health. So when I was saying, when you said brought up the grind, I'm glad you brought that. You should grind efficiently and figure out what you're grinding for. Like what one thing I love to ask people sometimes, not just in therapy, just in general, is what's your limit for how much money you want to make? Because one problem I find within our culture in America is that everybody wants to be a millionaire, right? Why? Because it's life's easier, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing to want to aspire to, but what I'm saying is that how feasible is it? Like, how feasible is it? What number do you need to see in your account for you and your family to feel okay? Like, once you hit that number, then do you have a system in place to make sure you have that income coming in? After you hit that point, just my recommendation, just all. After you hit that point, your grinding should like come down a little bit, so you can come down a little bit. You don't got to be up on 10 all the time. Like, I got to grind, I got to make more, brother. Look, this is just me. If you making about 400,000, 500,000, 300,000, what are you trying to buy? Like, it's nothing wrong with wanting to make more money. I'm not knocking people who are entrepreneurs that want to go make $1 million. But what I'm saying is that after about $350,000, what are you trying to buy that's worth sacrificing so much of your time and mental capacity? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just asking you to ask that question. Because once you figure out what you're grinding for, you have to learn how to be comfortable with it. So that way you can dial it back, pull the lever back a little bit. So then you can start enjoying life. Like the pursuit of money. If you're just doing it just to chase money, it's like chasing the wind. you'll never catch it. Like what's enough? At a certain point, there has to come a point, and this may sound philosophical, but where is my end goal to where now I feel like I've made it to where now I can start enjoying my life? Because are you filling your identity with money because you don't feel good enough? Is it just a game to you? But at a certain point, you got to look for that return on your investment. What am I grinding for to where I can start enjoying my life? That's why I'm glad you had brought that up.
Yeah. I think for people that...
Make sure you hydrate, Dr. Bill. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I think that for people that are in that specific space you're talking about and they have achieved a certain level of success in financial figures, I typically see them grinding that hard still to keep it and maintain it, because getting it is one thing,
keeping is another.
Something very different. And then what I tended to see is people, their lifestyle start to match the figures that they're making, right? So if you're not keeping it, then the lifestyle changes, and it's a whole thing. And the stress that comes from trying to maintain this lifestyle that it's real. I did a lot of mental health workshops in business incubators or big business accelerator programs, and working with entrepreneurs that were doing amazing things in business, but the mental wellness correlation to their output was so interesting, and there's a lot of research studies around it, which is what got me interested in it. But yeah, trying to maintain the level of success that they have achieved that's a lot of work in and of itself. So talking about self-care to match different seasons of different spaces you're in, and being able to understand that it's not optional. Like I always talk about, self-care, in my opinion, is a direct reflection of your self-worth, what you feel your self-worth is, right? Because if you can't take the time in the scenario you're describing to carve out time for rest, and you know that what you're doing, you are the machine, right? Like you are the product, you are the output. If you're the entrepreneur, you can't carve out time to rest, to eat well, to hydrate, get those leafy greens in.
Drink coconut water.
Drink your water, people. But if you're not able to do that, I usually am curious about, how do you really see yourself, or how do you really feel about yourself? Because your self-worth is, I think, directly tied to how you treat yourself.
I think that was really good, Dr. Bill, because you're right. You're right. Get there and maintaining. But then you said something that made me think, that brought me to this. That's the power of messaging in that regard. Like you make $500,000 and now you're living at $500,000. And it's kind of like, when did we get away from the notion of living below your means at a certain point? Because, if you do this, I'm not knocking you. It's just because now Dr. Bill brought up a curious point to what I said earlier. Because in my head, when I had made that statement, because I didn't think of it till you said it, I wouldn't, this is just me. If I made $500,000, I wouldn't live at $500,000. I know me. I live my life like this right now, mainly because the business that we run. I budget and allocate money accordingly to where I know that if I made $500,000, I would live at whatever 300K's lifestyle is in the event that something happens. If I make 300K, I would live at whatever 200K is in the event that something would happen. So in my mind, I think that that's the power of messaging, because you were right that you get to a certain point and now mentally or psychologically, you feel like you have to surround yourself with those things that accommodate your income. And I think that's to a lot of people's detriment, because now you're trapped. Right. As you were saying that, it made me think of that.
But also is access too, right? Like, so if I've made a certain amount of money and I need to be networking in a certain circle, right? Well, then maybe I do need to go ahead and get the suite at the Titan Stadium or Capital One Arena,
to gain more access,
right? Because I'm gaining more access. So it feels like sometimes it can definitely be messaging and you feeling like you need to fill your surroundings with things, and other times it can feel like strategic business investments in that moment in your price range, and then something happen and that not be your price range anymore, or it is, but you have to keep running at this pace to maintain that, which still brings me back to my other point of, if you're sprinting, you can only do that for so long. Yeah, you can only do it for so long. So even while you're sprinting, the self-care has to be a part of the sprint. And also knowing ahead of time you can only sprint for so long. So what is the plan, whether it's other people helping you with the labor or whatever it is, what is the plan to get yourself off the sprint?
Yeah, I think everything both of you mentioned, speaks to, I think, the deeper part of self-care that a lot of people struggle with, which is what are your guiding principles and morality as far as like what's guiding you through this life? Is it through a religious lens, being spiritual, being a person of faith? Is it more through a philosophical lens, right? I feel as though a part of self-care is identifying which one. So if you're someone who's very spiritual, identifying a spiritual base with that to your life to kind of guide you through those things that you want, and more so still keep you very much centered at what the things that are more important and valuable to you. If you're not so much spiritual or religious, a philosophical stance that kind of gives you a way of looking at life and all the things that come along with it to kind of guide you and keep you centered. I feel like a lot of us kind of wander through life, for better or for worse, and making it up as we go based off of wherever we grow up and whatever the value system is within it. And particularly in America, where capitalism drives everything, which is you always find yourself in a position at some point, at a very existential type of way, when is enough enough? Because sometimes you think enough is enough when it's like, okay, we made 6 figures. Doesn't feel like it's enough because they didn't change those. Now we need to be making the mid 6 figures. Okay, that's not enough. Millions. So having to pause and ask yourself, well, what are our values? Because when the values make sense to us, whatever comes in our life, we're able to manage it because we have something to lean on to give us guidance and understanding of how to handle these situations because they're not unprecedented. But if we can't identify those things within ourselves, then we really do find ourselves wandering, worrying, stressing, shooting for things that really maybe not meant for us because it's something we were taught that we need to have or should have versus actually speaking to whatever our deeper values or morals are that really should be guiding us and saying that, well, maybe I don't want to be a millionaire. Maybe I want to live a more simplistic life where it's less stressful and I get to enjoy the relationships I have.
You know, Keith, you brought up a good point in that rundown because you're right. Like, what guides you, I always tell clients, when your why is strong enough, the how makes more sense and becomes easier. I say that not just with clients, mainly with the students as well that I teach. You got to know your why as to why you're doing this. If your why is strong enough, the how part is way more manageable, especially when you're going to get your doctorate. Because, all right, why am I here? Okay, this is taking so long. But you said something that made me think about it. You're right. It's kind of like also to take into account that equation, the cost of living goes up. Like, there's just certain points where I chase money because I have no choice. Like, I would love to I would love to focus on my friendships, right? I would love to focus on my relationships. Just thinking about Joe client, Joe or Jane citizen, where it's like I would love to do that, but the price of everything has gone up. It's skyrocketed. So now I got to go out there and continuously grind and do more and more. But then my rebuttal to that would be that we have to become equally or as close to equally as aggressive as you can with you carving out time to relax your system, because you can only sprint for so long. And to your point, yes, what values are guiding you as well? Because that leads to another form of self-care, which you brought up. Like, the last thing I do at night, one of the last things I do every night is I read my Bible, because one, nobody's bothering me. Everybody's asleep. I'm the last one asleep in the house. So I get to crack open this Kindle and read this Bible. And when I said I tithe earlier, to me, tithing is it's a no-brainer because of my faith. Allocating money is a no-brainer because I learned it from reading scripture, that the majority of the disciples who will become the apostles that follow Christ, they were businessmen. The Bible teaches you resource management, because God won't give you more if you mismanage what he's given you. So for me, like when I said in my mind, I wouldn't live at X status at a certain point, I would live here. That is to your point, that is my value rooted in my religion, because if I'm the head of the household, there comes a point where in order for the people in my household to enjoy a certain lifestyle, a sacrifice has to be made. And I'd rather it be on my end. Yeah. So if I made, using what you both have said, if I made $500,000, my values rooted in my faith and my self-care of reading scripture and understanding scripture and praying is that I wouldn't live there, because I know that I need to be able to, if something happens, do X to take care of this issue here, so everybody else can continue to do that there. But you're right, it is a value-based thing that drives that. But one other self-care thing is, do you have a spiritual practice? Not that you need one, but for those of you who do, how often do you engage in it? Because we just did a panel this weekend, and I said on the panel that if you have a high spiritual intelligence with spiritual practice as far as reading scripture, going to church, praying, and getting in fellowship, it buffers a lot of stress. It buffers a lot of anxiety. It helps with depression because your faith helps you to reframe your day-to-day stressors, those negative interactions. One of the phrases, what is it, man? Lord willing. I like, man, if that's in his plan, whatever it may be.
Well, I think that always makes me think of the 8 domains of wellness, and just knowing that they are all listed there in this will, because they're all important. So spiritual practices, regardless of what that spiritual practice looks like for you, is important to your wellness. So absolutely, I think that we all have to lean into that and be able to identify what it is that we pull our values from, what it is that gives you strength, what it is that you govern your life around. And then for other people, it may not be as structured or as routine, but there has to be something that you feel spiritually connected to. I have some clients that feels like nature for them, and it feels like getting out and grounding themselves and touching grass and getting to a space where they really feel connected to something larger than themselves. And I think we all grow up differently and we're raised in different settings. So in my household growing up, that wasn't considered spirituality, right? It was a very narrow viewpoint of what spirituality looked like. But as I've evolved as a clinician, growing an appreciation for if it allows you to feel connected to something larger than you, if it allows you to feel like you are, again, bringing everything back down to this base level, I'd say that's amazing, and go for it. And I really like to encourage people, because I think sometimes people get, if they didn't grow up in a spiritual household, or maybe they did and they have church hurt. I don't want to ever push that thing on people where you have to have a spiritual practice that looks traditional, but it is very important for us as humans to have a spiritual practice of some sort, whatever it looks like for you.
I think you hit on the head with the idea of something that connects you. I think that is not that you need to have one, but I do think that connection is very, very important, whether it's connection to something greater than yourself or connection to the people around you. When you said that, and it may keep you ain't allude to it, but one thing I thought was always a odd practice is walking around barefoot. Grounding yourself by walking. I be seeing people walk to the mailbox barefoot, and I'm like,
I feel attacked.
You walk around barefoot?
I mean, not here. I did in Kentucky.
Outside?
Yes. To the mailbox? How else am I get there? I mean, I guess I could put shoes on.
Yeah, because hookworms. I'm always worried about hookworms. They're real. You don't know what that is?
No.
They hook into your feet.
Kentucky.
Oh, no, they got them everywhere. That's not how that works, buddy. I'm sorry. Buddy, that's not how that works. They got hookworms. I always look, and I'd be like, keep in mind, it's not a judgment thing, but to me, it's just odd. And then you walk around your house.
If you have pets, you wipe your pet's paws when they come in from outside as well.
I got rid of mine. I sent it to his house.
Yeah. Okay.
I got rid of my pet.
I feel like that says a lot.
I got rid. You go ahead. You come get this dog today.
As a dog owner, when you walk your dogs, you wash their paws when they come in the house. So you're gonna clean your feet as a human as well when you come back in the house. That's just good home training.
Why not just wear shoes?
I mean, you can, but there is something to being one with the earth and being grounded in that way. And also, we just country.
I was going to say, it's a, I feel like it is a country thing. I feel like it's the country bumpkins and the Midwest people. I met country bumpkins in a loving manner. I met in a loving manner.
Wild.
That
took that one down.
Is that a derogatory term?
Depending.
It is.
Depending how you're using it. The way you're using it, I don't think.
Oh yeah, because all you country folk out there, I be seeing y'all walk around without y'all shoes on. I be like, brother, that's dirt. You know what, living there. You probably looking at me like, so what? It ain't gonna kill you. I beg to differ. Hookworms. That's what I'm worried about. Yeah, you gotta Google it. When I found out what they were, and then you found about brown recluse spiders and stuff like that. Yeah, I leave my shoes on my feet. at all times. But no, connection to nature, I'm fine with it. There is something about being. Actually, I looked it up, and it's eluding me. But there is actual studies that show that being in the presence of nature turns down the fight or flight system. It's a combination of the oxidation, the greenery, as you said. There's a reason why we like plants in the room. One, the oxygen that the plants produce calms us down as well. But there was an actual study that the scenery in conjunction with all those factors really do mitigate stress. Also, just getting out walking tends to help you as far as lowering your stress levels because you're increasing your heart rate a little bit. Another form of self-care that most people don't consider to be self-care, but it's setting healthy boundaries as well. Yeah. Like the power of no cannot be understated. There are certain people out here, and you know who you are, where you just feel like if I say no, they might not love me no more. They might judge me. I might lose this opportunity. And I'm not telling you wrong. Come to therapy and talk about that, because by and large, it tends to not really go that way depending on what the situation is. But being able to say no when you don't have the capacity, that is self-care as well. Setting a healthy boundary where I don't got it today, I'm exhausted, we'll go another day, or I'll do it another day. You don't have to be the end all. If their plans solely relied on you in order for it to work, then they should have planned better, because you got your own bandwidth. You got your own capacity. Now, granted, I'm using that statement broadly because it could be like your child's plans rely on you. You know, like your partner's plans may rely on you. I'm just giving that little nuance, but I'm talking like your coworker that comes to you and like, hey, look, we need you here, X, Y, Z, and the third. We need you here after work hours.
No.
you playing wrong.
No.
That was a terrible plan. That was a bad plan. After work hours, if I'm not being compensated, I'm sorry, I can't do it.
Well, no, boundaries are preservation, as an and also give a good definition of boundaries. I know some people get confused about what boundaries are. Boundaries are simply what it is that you're going to do if X, Y, and Z happens. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, to your point, I'll be transparent. One of my boundaries is this. If it is a job that interferes with my ability to spend time with my family, my friends, my dogs, then it is not a job for me. I don't care how much it pays. I don't care what it's in. It could be the thing I've been waiting on my whole entire life. If it conflicts with those, my boundaries, like I can't do it, because I know me. I'll get into it. I'll like it. I may even fall in love with it, but at some point, because I feel as though it's taking away from things that are indeed my top priorities, I'm going to resent it. And I'm going to get stressed out, and I'm going to get angry, and I'm going to get bitter, and I'm going to be frustrated, and I'm not going to be showing up. So boundaries are essential because it lets other people know on the outside of you. It's like, you do A, I'm gonna do B. You've been warned. It's nothing personal. It's just the fact that I care about you, but I love me.
Mm-hmm. I like how you said that. That was good.
I think boundaries protect your resources, right?
Yes.
We only have, you said, your bandwidth, your capacity, whether it's emotional, whether it's physical, whether it's time. Boundaries protect those resources. So I always tell the clients that you were kind of alluding to that have a really hard time with saying no and setting those boundaries. When you think of it as a resource and you think of it as what you have to give out, I say you have to guard it. And I'm often talking to women. So I would say you have to guard it like you guard your purse, right? Like if I'm thinking about going into my purse and passing you a resource, you think about that a lot differently than just, yes, can you show? Yes, I'll do. Yeah, can you pick up my kid? Yeah, and you've said yes 15 times today.
Yes.
That's crazy. So guarding your yes like you guard your purse, knowing that these are resources that you only have so much capacity to do, and how do you dole that out in a way that you're meeting some of the thresholds that you want to, maybe putting in the parking lot some things you need to circle back to, and then still reserving time for yourself.
I like how you both said that. Like how you said, if you do X, I'm going to do Y, and treating it like a resource. I tell everybody this. We all have 24 hours in a day. It's cut into segments of 3.
Yes.
You have 8 hours for work. By and large, everybody do. Ain't no way around that. Now, if you factor in a commute, especially if you live in the Washington, D.C. area like we do, it's about 2 extra hours. So you got 10 hours because you got an hour commute sometimes, especially in rush hour traffic, right? So that's 10 hours. That leaves you with 14 hours left, right? That means you want a good 8 hours of sleep.
Yes.
So what are we looking at right there? Help me with the math. About 6 hours of time to yourself. That means you got to work out, do your business if you're building a business, or do your part-time job, or heaven forbid you got kids or you're in a relationship, you got to give them time. So when I say set boundaries, I like how you say use as resources, and if you do this, I'm going to do that thing. If you look at it that way, that you got 10 hours going to your job, that means you got 6 hours to yourself to figure out life, to be able to have 8 hours of full sleep. That means the next resource you're sacrificing is your sleep. I tell everybody that, especially so if you're out there dating, I recommend setting a boundary like this. When you're going on a date, I see nothing wrong with you saying, if we're going to date, it needs to be worth my time. And I'm not just saying time as in like we got to go somewhere fancy, like we're going to have some good conversation. We can go get some food, whatever it is, but it's got to be worth my time because you're sacrificing your sleep at the end of all this. And your boundary setting protects your sleep. I cannot stress that enough. Because think about it. If you say yes to 15 things like you said, that's within that 6 hours, you got to do those 15 things after work. After being around the people you don't like. I'm just being honest. Most people don't. There are people at our job we love to be around. I work with you. I love it. He get on my nerves sometimes, though.
I do.
He do it, but it's out of love. Like we working on the application. He changed what we're applying. I'm like, whoa, well, you to change the whole format. He did, y'all. We were applying to do a training to make the training legit. We submit the paperwork. He changed the training while we're in the application process. But I love him. He's my younger brother, right? I've had jobs where I work with people I don't like. I'm around you for 8 hours. It's just Jesus, bills, and kids keeping me sane right now. And now I got to get off work, and I done volunteered to do some stuff. I ain't even decompressed from work yet. Setting boundaries is a part of your self-care. Because like Keith said, if you do this, I will do this. What does that look like? Hey, I can't do this today. But if you let me to do it on another day, I'll allocate some time to it. It can also be, hey, I'll go on this date with you. However, if it's not going anywhere, it's not going the right direction, I might call it early so I can get some rest. It's not you, I'm just tired. Setting boundaries is a absolutely great way to maintain your self-care because you're managing your resources. And as you set enough boundaries to the broader continuum of using setting boundaries, people know what they can and cannot ask you for moving forward. The analogy I always give everybody is we all got that one relative. You're going to know which relative I'm talking about. We all got that one relative where you know you can't ask them certain things. Don't even bother asking them. They're going to tell you, they're going to give you a piece of their mind, and they're going to tell you no. Does that relative not get invited to Thanksgiving? Does that relative not get invited to Christmas? No. They come to every family function because they family. But you know what you're not going to do? Ask them to do something that they've already conditioned you to not do. They don't have a problem setting boundaries. Why do you? I know why, because you come to therapy to talk about it. I'm just using it, just for the purpose of entertainment value on the podcast. They don't struggle to set boundaries. They've even conditioned everybody in your family on what you will and will not ask me to do. Because even if you do it, they're going to be like, I don't do that. Don't even act. As a matter of fact, they'll sit around, start delegating responsibilities, and you go to them and be like, yeah, see how you raise your eyebrow, G? They gonna go to you like, don't even miss me with that. I bring the chips. I'm not bringing the chips is what I put. I'm buying protein. I'm not buying protein for this function. You lost your mind. So setting boundaries is one. And to more realistic things as well, shifting the conversation to more realistic self-care things. As we've already talked about journaling, one that I feel is underutilized is also just hanging around friends. Hanging around your friends is a good form of self-care, especially if y'all laughing and kikiing it up. I know that we all get siloed into our lives, especially when we get in relationships and we build families, but I encourage everybody, if you got a friend group, hang out with them. Y'all have to be intentional. Hang out at least once a month. Get together. It don't got to be something grand and lavish. Meet up at Dave & Buster's, America's Best Wings. Well, not America's Best Wings. That's not what that's what you eat. It's not that type of restaurant. But hang out and look at this football season, basketball season. Go watch the fights. Do something because I'm not gonna suck up the bandwidth. I'll come back around to it, but it increases longevity when you hang around friends. That's why I'm proud of Dad about with his little, and I mean little lovingly, his little bowling league that he be at. Yeah, our father, he be bowling. He be out there bowling all the time.
He's there right now up the street.
Yep, and he gonna live forever because of it. But what are your thoughts?
To your point, connection is very much a part of self-care. It's one of the ways that we understand our value in the world, because it's the value that we have to understand about ourselves only we can give to ourselves. But then it's also the value that we have to understand that we have to offer to the world, right? And so our friends reinforce our value by way of how we show up for them. And then if it's a healthy friendship, they show up for us in the same, not necessarily in the same way, equally in their own unique type of way, and we're reciprocating that energy. And then also, not to mention, it's good to have an audience to kind of have memories with, particularly if you grew up with them or if you're the same generation, commiserate with, have a community to show up to support you when some of those big losses come, where it's like, all right, in addition to your family, you need some outside support. Our friendships, our relationships, I feel as though honestly reminds us what it means to be human in a way.
Yeah.
Because it normalizes the human experience, as in sometimes we think to ourselves, like, maybe I'm just being overly emotional. And then we get around our friends, it's like, no, I felt the same way. Like, really? I felt the exact same way. Like, I thought I was tripping. No. And then everybody chimes in. It's like, so wait, we've really been kind of, I give you an example, and I won't say their names, was with a group of my friends, and we're all like now in our late 30s. It is what it is. And everyone started having conversations around kids. Out of that group of about 7 people, it was the first time that out of that 7, 5 have children. All 5 were able to talk about out loud amongst, and we've known each other since Temple. Actually, ODU, my apologies. The fertility issues they were having. Nobody ever really talked about that. It was just a case of like, well, how you doing? Doing good. You know, we're trying to have the baby. Okay, cool. But it was the first time we sat down, we talked about it after they had their kids. It was like, bruh, do you know how hard it was to get pregnant at this particular stage in life? Like in our 30s, like all the things, both on the male side, female side. And then people were just kind of like, that happened to, yes, it did. And just to kind of have that, like, okay, so it wasn't just us, not just something wrong with me and my situation. It's like, no, and I laugh at all of us, because it's like, all of y'all wait to have kids between the ages of like 34, 37. So it's like, it's funny because like, no, you're normalizing what happens during that age or that window when you're trying to have children, how it gets a little bit more complicated. So it wasn't no sense of shame in the sense of, oh, there's something wrong with me. It's more so a case of like, this is the window, this is what happens to our bodies, and it makes it a little bit more difficult, but not impossible.
Yeah, when you said that validation portion, like I knew I wasn't tripping. Don't nothing feel better than when your friends validate you. Like, man, shout out to my friend Eddie. I was talking to somebody at the time. They had me feeling low. Like I was like, man, I don't know, man. I'm not on my A game. This person got me feeling like I'm a sucker. I called my best friend Eddie. Eddie was like, I called him up on the phone. I said, yeah, Eddie, man. I don't know, man. Like she got me feeling like I'm a sucker and all this stuff. But Eddie came through all that phone. He said, look, I don't care who she is. I don't care what she look like. I've known you not all your life. I've known you since college. I've seen you date nothing but Instagram models. You need to remind this woman who exactly you are. I don't care what she look like or who she is. I know you, and this ain't you. Don't you let her get in your head. I was like that. I was in the car. I looked at I tilted the rearview mirror to myself. I was like, he right. I was like, you're right. Yes, I am me. I thank you. So Eddie, I appreciate you, because he really did he was like, I don't care who she is. I don't care what she look like. I don't care what you about to tell me right now. I know you. I know. Let her know who you are. Eddie was there for me when I needed him on that one. That really he motivated me on that one.
I love it. I think to your point, the conversation that you were able to have with your friends, you have to be able to create the space to do that, right? And so I think sometimes we think about getting together with our friends as like brunch or private room karaoke or, you know, some event,
kickbacks.
something, right? But creating space that is really intentional around being able to connect in that way. So I love brunch. We brunch it up. You get to get dressed, be cute, have a cocktail. It's fun. But the conversation doesn't always lend itself to go that deep, you know, in a space like that. So we do a lot of intentionally curating things to spend time together. One of my favorite things is New Year's, like that first week. We try to do like a year in review kind of recap, right? Like, what did we achieve? What were things that we wish we had done a little differently? Where are spaces for improvement? What are our goals that we're setting for this year? How do we support each other in getting them, right? But just creating some intentional space. And of course, there's good food and good drink and fun times and some music, but
Bourbon.
lots of bourbon, the best kind, for sure. But creating the spaces that you can be intentional about that connection, because I think sometimes people are hesitant, even in a close friend group, right? There's sometimes people are going to be a little hesitant about sharing or knowing if, like, I think what I hear the most is, like, if you've got something that isn't as positive or upbeat, like, people don't want to, like, bring down the vibe, so they don't necessarily want to share, but creating an intentional space that we're going to, like, commiserate is, I think, nice.
See, that's why I love brunch is dope. But for like the deeper conversations, that's the reason why I love just kickbacks. Where it's like, okay, why don't we just meet at such house and everybody bring some food, bring your favorite drink or whatever, and we just sit and we talk and of course eat and drink, just to have like those more deeper conversations. Because I'll speak for myself. The older I get, the more I realize I need them, because life just becomes, I don't say more complicated, but it always presents things that I didn't realize were things. And so I need a space to kind of unpack that, to kind of see, okay, is it just me? Am I having a certain type of response that's unique to me? Or is this something that's common amongst us that we just need to start talking about, right? So like now, of course, the conversations are, things crackle and pop. Right, and like we move, things are cracking and popping.
Oh, when we move around.
Exactly, right. As in, like,
yeah,
certain
buddy.
moves are being made when you bend down, like,
yeah, buddy.
Right? So having conversations about that, because it's like, I feel a way about this. That wasn't a thing a decade ago. And now all of a sudden you get with your friends, it's like, oh no, that happened to me. Like, I was lifting to get my toddler, pick them up. I heard something pop in my back. I was like, ooh. And even felt it, right? So having those type of conversations are important. Even now, one friend, because same friend group in that same conversation, we were talking about one friend whose parents passed within like a year of each other. So even sitting there having honest conversations about that, like, what does it mean to be at this age now with all of our parents like in their 60s and 70s, and that's facing you and that's facing them. So those become very integral to my self-care, because it makes me realize, like, okay, this is my village. Nothing I'm going through is unprecedented. And most importantly, I can always come to them and talk to them, and they will show up. Yeah. And that to me is just, like I said, as I've gotten older, any work that gets in the way of that, I can't do it. I like
how y'all both broke it down, because you do have to create the space. Like for men, I would encourage men, because we struggle with this, is when one of your friends is coming to you to be vulnerable, hear them out. Because I called Eddie because I knew Eddie wouldn't judge me. Like I have different friends that I call for different reasons, right? Yeah. But one thing I try to make sure that all my friends know is that you can come and talk to me, because I try to make a space, because if you're coming to talk to me, that means it's really bothering you. And I encourage men to create a space you don't got to tell them like your usual stuff, like it'll be all right, just power through it. No, just let them know, hey, you can talk to me. I want to listen to you. So that way they can open up, because we carry a burden rooted in the mindset of no one cares about how we feel. So I purposely try to create that space, but because to the point I was saying, what you were saying about making that space, I knew I can call Eddie. I knew he wouldn't judge me. I knew he would hear me. And he heard me. He heard me, and then when he heard it, I was feeling some type of way about the relationship. He was like, let me stop you right there, man. Because I know you. This ain't you. He wasn't cutting me off, y'all. He was really like, I don't care who this person is. You need to remember who you are. I needed that in that moment. So creating that space, having those kickbacks where like y'all can check in with each other, I think that is a very important thing, because by and large, women don't struggle with that. Like creating the space to talk, be vulnerable, and open up. Men do, because we are not conditioned culturally to discuss our emotions in a vulnerable state. And that requires us to do that hard lifting on our own. And it's simple that when someone's being vulnerable with you, if it's man to man, let them be vulnerable. Don't let them, when they quick to be like, man, never mind, no, I'm just being, am I tripping or I'm being sensitive? No, encourage them. Tell them, nah, man, just open up. Like, I've gone through something similar. Because I get upset when my friends, they'll text me or call me. They'll be like, can I talk to you for a second? I know what that means. It done hit the fan. And you waited. And then I always say, why you ain't called me sooner? Man, I know you do this for a living. I ain't want to bother you. If you have a friend that's a therapist, I'm not going to speak for them. I'm going to speak for me. Do you know how many people I meet on the street that will take free therapy? You know, you go somewhere and you tell them what you do. They be like, hey, what do you think about this? They going to get that free therapy for that 10, 15 minutes I'm there. You have a direct line to my personal phone. And I do this for a living. And you didn't bother to call. I tell all my friends, if anybody should be taking advantage of it, it should be you guys. So yes, creating that space and then being intentional and recognizing that I need this space is a very important component of self-care, because as I was coming full circle, as I was alluding to earlier, is that when you get around friends and family or social and you interact, you produce dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, epinephrine. Those are all the counter hormones to cortisol, which is stress, which breaks down the body when it's too much of it. You live longer. Being with friends produces longevity. It boosts the immune system. That's why, like I said, with Dad and with you and your friends, which I hope y'all keep doing, people who get around each other, whether they drink or smoke, they live longer than anybody who works out. You could work out, eat right, be full-blown vegan and fast, and pray 6 times a day and do ultra marathons. The statistical likelihood of you passing before them is still high.
Which is wild, because Dad's group, the age range, I kid you not, is 60 to, shout out to Mr. Love. Mr. Love is 95.
Yeah. You know why he living?
Still be out here gallivanting.
Yeah, because he hanging around with friends to gallivant with. If I'm a shenan, I'm not going to shenan alone. I want to do hood rat stuff with my hood rat friends.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't want to do it alone.
Exactly.
Because who am I going to share the story with?
It's adult recess.
Exactly. I need someone to witness this greatness that we could talk about later on. So yes, getting with your friends and creating that space is by far really, really important when it comes to self-care, because like you said, there's certain things you realize that, man, I'm not tripping. Y'all went through the same thing. Don't nothing feel good when your friends tell you, nah, you're not tripping. That's them. It's definitely them. It's not you. I'd have gone through the same thing. And that whole getting old with things snapping and cracking, boy, man, I done had to cut out workouts. I was like, I can't do that workout no more. I was just, a funny point, everybody. That's what I was thinking about. Hey, I was talking to my friends just this weekend, and they were like, man, when was the last time like anybody ever sprinted? Like ran as fast as you can in one direction.
I do marathons. I don't sprint.
Right? The crazy thing is,
that sounds like torture.
I told them, I said, I just did that last week because I was training for a term. And they was like, shut your ass up, Captain America. Ain't nobody asked you, right? You can only get that type of response
from your friends.
From your friends. Granted, they addressed the whole room. And it's like, shut your ass up, Captain America. Ain't nobody asked you. I said, but yeah, you need that. You see how that laughter felt really, really good. Even if you're at home and you laughing right now, that feel-good chemical in your body right there, that's dopamine. Dopamine and oxytocin. It boosts your immune system. Go get you some by hanging out with your friends. But with that being said, y'all have any thoughts in closing? Anybody? Nothing? Okay. Do some self-care, everybody. Because at the end of the day, it can be as free as you want it to be. It just requires a little bit of time and effort. I encourage you, do the at-home things. Journal. If you have a spiritual practice, use whatever spiritual practice it is. Look up mindfulness. That's a good one. Setting healthy boundaries. Going to a spa. I love that one. Get yourself a massage. You deserve it. Getting with friends. If you like walking barefoot, walk barefoot. No judgment here. Hydrate.
Yes.
Drink water. Lots of water. Okay? That really does really help. And get with your friends. Get with your friends. I work with 2 dope people in an awesome production team. I wish he was here. I called Keenan. I called Keenan.
That's our producer.
I called him. We went viral online about the definition of racism. I called him. He helped me with my self-care.
You call everyone.
I did, because it was the amount of on topic, and we close at this point. The amount of black people I was debating about the definition of racism was concerning to me. It was. And everybody, for those of you, y'all can turn this into a reel. The definition I used, it wasn't even just rooted in research. It came from the Merriam-Webster's dictionary. So it's not even I created the word. I used the word within the proper context. And then what happened was when I called Keenan said, "Oh, you arguing with them about the definition in the dictionary?" He said, "Hey, brother, you got to let that go. You can't help people like that." That freed me up. See? Self-care. That's why I was bothered by it, because I'm like, man, y'all, the black people, there was way more black people that didn't agree with the definition, but it was like a handful sprinkled in there. I was like,
you and your victim mentality.
Right? Yeah, that's it. This is the type of mindset that doesn't help black people. This is a victim defining words. All right, brother. But with that being said, we'll bring this to a close. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that little bell icon to get notifications when new episodes drop, and we'll see you next time on the Us Therapeutic Podcast.